All right, everybody. This is very, very critical, right? What we're going to talk about today. I mean, this is kind of like the holy grail, right? Well, a lot of the things are the holy grail that we talk about. So this is definitely
There's
one of them.
so many pieces to the puzzle, but
Yeah.
all of them are equal. Like if you're missing any one piece, you're not gonna get it, because this
Right.
is, again, we're not talking about people who are already programmed to be billionaires. We're talking about people who have to change and integrate all of the points to become rich.
Yeah.
So
And what,
that's why
what,
it requires all the pieces.
yeah. And what's cool is like many people that are in this group, they already have some of the programming, keyword
Yep.
some. And so that's why a lot of this stuff makes sense. That's why it's so important. Like, listen to all of these episodes, especially the ones that we've done up to date. I mean, because there's these pieces in here that are, I mean, it's like, yeah, if you're missing any one of these, like it ain't gonna come together. But again, for a lot of these, you're gonna see that, okay, it's already reaffirming to you some stuff you know. But if you're brand new to this and you think it's reaffirming what you know, think twice, because there's a lot here that it's like we have this bias where we'll hear something and then we'll just hear it how we want to hear it. It's like confirmation bias. Like, oh yeah, I knew it. Okay, yep, got to take more responsibility. Got it. And then you go and like avoid the shit you have to do.
Right, right.
you know,
It's because you have a limited
yeah,
vocabulary,
yeah.
right?
Or
You fit it
you
into
take
the, like, what you already have inside of you. Try to just fit it into what's already inside of you.
exactly, and it's taking responsibility. You might take responsibility, but over the wrong things. And so you're sitting here like, oh yeah, I'm taking responsibility. I'm on my path, man. I'm doing great. But meanwhile, like your relationship sucks, or it's not optimized, or like you're avoiding like what your kids need, or you're not like looking at the real lesson that you have to learn at the moment. And that's we're gonna get a little bit into that. I mean, actually, we're gonna go deep into that, right? Of how you can really learn the lessons you have to learn to get to the next level, right? Because that's the process here. But we'll get into that in a moment, and just some other sage, pieces of wisdom that have really guided. I don't know, both of us from day one. Like the first day we met, you shared with me some of these concepts, and now I can actually see. I mean, it took me 2.5 years to integrate some of this stuff, but now it's like when you have it, you become invincible in a sense, like invincible in the business world because
And
you're impeccable.
right, the fascinating point is understanding this, because I know we mentioned this in the last um, YBC call, which is that we need to be reminded more than we need to learn new things. It's
Yeah.
just understanding that we're laying out the basics to you. Okay. And I'm sure you
Hmm.
listen to other stuff and read other stuff. There are fundamental basics that you have to apply. And as you move forward in your process, in your journey of life, in your business, whatever you want to call it, all you have to do is apply the basics on a new level. That's why, like Mitchell was saying, I presented him some concepts when when we first met. But now Mitch is also reminding me of those concepts and how I can apply it more and more in my life. It always comes back to the same things. And one of the big key pieces that we're going to talk about is going to be today in this audio. That if you just keep focusing on where am I doing this, that we're going to talk about in a moment, if you just keep coming back to that, you just perpetually apply that, you'll get to where you want to go, is my point.
Yeah.
It's not always new fancy information that you have to learn.
Right. Yeah. The basics end up becoming the fancy information, right? Because
Yes,
you realize just
yes.
how much nuance there is. So yeah, let's dive into this, right? The really the first point that is just uh, like really worthy of reflection here is in becoming extremely successful and building really effective business and having influence and impact in the world. It's about who you become, right? You have to be the person that can live that as a constant expression. And expression is not something emotional. Did you know that? Right? Yes, you could use expression and you could think it's emotional, but expression, actually, this is the best definition of it. Expression is a living act of who you are in any given moment. It's a living act of who you are in any given moment. And that means both on the good days and the bad days and when shit hits the fan and when things are going great. It's who are you in that moment? Who are you living as? Like, how are you expressing yourself here? And it's a pretty profound thing, because then you realize, like, where are the shortcomings to that? Right? Like, you might be good 6 days a week, but on that seventh day a week, when you want to take your day off, or when you, I don't know, on Monday afternoons, right? You have those tough meetings, but but it's like that's the moment, right? That those are the moments of change where you can direct yourself in those moments, right? That's like that integrity we talked about, many episodes ago. Is it's who are you throughout the whole thing, not just when times are easy. And that's
Because
really, really worthy of reflection.
I know a lot of the times people think I'm doing this to become financially free, and they're really focused on the money point because they think that once they have the money, then they're going to feel better about their life, which we're going to talk about, like how that's actually in reverse. But really just understanding that money is a reflection of something, which
Mhm.
which groups in the same concept that we're going to hit on. Just understanding this one point of it's not about the money that you get, it's about who you become. I would suggest reverse engineering from purpose to business, not choose a business because you want to make a lot of money and then tell yourself that it's your purpose. This is what most people do. They say they change, they fit their purpose into what they want, right? They decide what they want because they think it's going to make them happy and all this stuff. And then they fit their purpose into what they want. This is what I want. And then they reverse engineer their purpose off of that. Like, okay, therefore my purpose is to help people in this. And I love it when people say help people. Every single person and their fucking mom. It's like you meet somebody working at McDonald's and they're like, yeah, my purpose is to help people by getting them their fucking burgers. Like, I'm making a joke out of it. Nobody actually says that at McDonald's. I don't know. But it's like every person has convinced themselves that the reason they're doing what they're doing is primarily to help people.
Yeah.
That's always hilarious to me because they're not
I'm
actually
helping people.
right, exactly. It's like they're not actually looking at to what degree are they actually helping a person to change and stay changed forever.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Oh, I just smile at people. And if I can make 5 people smile a day, man, I'm helping the world be a better place. It's like,
That was me. That
how,
was legitimately me, 100%.
yeah. I was like, oh, if I can just like spread enough positivity and like help enough people like have a good day over time, somehow that's gonna like make the world a better place. It's like, how is that gonna prevent the fact that like 20,000 kids a day are dying? like
Right.
there's like a fucked up like money system, and like there's like this conflict in Russia and Ukraine and stuff. It's like it's pretty gnarly that the extent to which there's issues in the world, and just focusing on helping people by making them smile or whatever, or being able to get them access to financing for their car or get a mortgage or whatever, like that's a very, very limited way of looking at things. And it might ruffle some feathers or piss some people off, and good, because that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to validate your purpose is valid just because you feel like it's valid. We're here to help you really question, like, who do you have to become in this
Right.
lifetime in order to
Right.
have a real effect in the world? If you don't want that, then stop listening, right? Because we're here to like, but if there's that little part of you, at least that little spark of life left within you, that's like, hey, okay, I'm open-minded, let's hear what you guys have to say, then keep listening, because we're about to now explain, like, how do you really now look at who you are, and how do you now really address that and look at, how can I actually find the way to learn the lessons that I need to learn and develop myself in a way so that I become really impeccable in what I do. And then who I become becomes this amazing human that can actually affect real change,
Right.
right? Where
Because
people are actually grateful for what you do.
the one thing that is fascinating with these little points of, oh, my purpose is to make people happy. That person is not doing anything substantial with their life, but it does show because, and I'm talking about me from 5 years ago. That was my fucking purpose. I was like, okay, if I could just make everybody smile a little bit more, my job is done. That's because I didn't know how to have a real impact in the world. But what it does show is that we do have a desire have a purpose to what we're doing. We do
Mhm.
have a desire to improve the condition of people, which is cool, right? The problem is we're doing it in reverse. There's what we want. I just want to focus on my survival. And then I fit my purpose into that. Well, then my purpose, like the reason I'm alive is just to make people smile a little bit. How about reverse engineer that? Sorry, flip that in reverse. Figure out your purpose. Figure out why you're here. Figure out what you're here to accomplish in your lifetime. And then change what you want to fit into that.
Yep.
Because that will actually fulfill you. The biggest conflict that people have is that they're doing things that have no alignment with their purpose. And they have no idea, or they're not even, their purpose is not even clear. So they're not seeing how what they're doing could be leading them to their purpose. To, let's say, for example, they know they want to have this kind of business to actually have a real impact in the world, but they're working a job right now. If you were clear on the purpose, you would, if you were clear on the purpose, you would see how your job is a stepping stone to being able to do that business full time, for example. You would make peace with that, and you would then go hard in your job, right? So that you can go hard in your business, or really just turn your brain off during the job, because you realize you're not trying to progress in the job. You're just trying to survive, quote unquote, through the job, so that when you get to your business, you still have your creative juices, so you can go hard.
Right.
So this is
And
one
with that
example.
too, well, yeah, and just to build on that example is like, yeah, if you're in that position where you still have to have a job right now just to put food on the table or whatever, like realize that you got to now have a date in your mind of when that's over, right? Because there's that it's Parkinson's law, right? And it's where an activity will take as long as the time you give allows for it, is basically what it is. Meaning, like everyone remembers, right? You had to study and you had to finish your paper to turn it in for school or whatever, right? And you would wait till the very last night and then you would get it all done, right? It's like, you had 3 weeks to do the assignment. Why'd you wait till the last day? That's Parkinson's law right there. And in the exact same way, this is the reason that some of you are okay with delaying on your dreams, and you're gonna wait, and it's gonna stay an idea for a long time, or you stay in your job and you don't have a clear date of when you're committed to be done with that by, right? A realistic date, not one of, oh, in 1 week I'm gonna make all this money and all this shit. No, don't do that. Like a practical, like 3 month or 5 month plan, because you can get a lot done in 3 to 5 months, especially with this material that we're talking about. And so that is essential, right? Because that shows you who you are. Are you the kind of person that has the discipline and the expression where you can set yourself constraints, you can set yourself a structure so you can actually really now go all out in that? Or are
Mhm.
you the kind of person that just goes with your feelings because it's too uncomfortable to have a deadline, and deadlines scare you because of this and that and the other thing that are excuses, so that you will stay in your job indefinitely, right?
Right.
This is about really now taking a stand for yourself, really. I mean, I'm taking a stand for myself for a long time. You have two asked if we can't take a stand for you per se, whoever's listening. We can take a stand and say, hey, look, this is what makes sense, and then you got to also stand up within yourself, though. And this is our invitation for you to do that.
Mhm. So just to wrap that together, it's about who you become. It's about your purpose. It's about who you are, and your business is a reflection of that. So you can't be thinking, oh, my spiritual process is different than my business process is different from my health journey is different. It's all the same. It's all you.
It's all
It's not
integrated.
right. Exactly. It's not different. So really start looking at that point. You're I'm talking to the people in business specifically, right? We're the Young Billionaires Club. Your business, as much as it's about money and industriousness, it's about your personal process. So this is what we're going to talk about. Is it's about who you are. If you have a bunch of bullshit inside of you, it's always going to be reflected in your business. If you're having problems in your business, assume it's because you have limitation inside of you. You have pre-programming that is corrupt. It's corrupted. Okay, it's malfunctioning. It's not functioning in the best way. Okay, so if you have that starting point and you use your business as a reflection of, oh, I am not the person I want to be. I am not the best person yet. And I'm constantly going to use my business as a measurement of who I am. Whew, you're in you're on the right path. If you're
Mhm.
separating, okay, now I have my business, then I have my personal process and my spiritual life and my relationship, and then I have my health goals and all. It's all one thing. Don't get me wrong. You have different. Obviously, you're not to measure how healthy you are based off how much money you're making, right? But my point is, it's all a reflection of you as an individual.
Yeah. Yeah. And then to now really start to look at this is, how do we now measure this? And of course, you have your metrics, right? Whatever. We could probably do a whole episode on metrics. We should write that one down. But another way of looking at this, a essential way of looking at this, is now looking at the areas of your life, especially the ones that you've kind of defined for yourself, right? Like, let's say it's health, let's say it's relationships, money, business, personal development, whatever. Okay. There's this concept that we're going to explain here, and it may take you a moment to understand. But once you understand it, you won't be able to unsee it. And so if you want to stay stuck and stay the same, turn the audio off. If you want to actually grow now and at least see where you need to grow, stay tuned. Okay. So this is a concept, right? Where this will help you now start to measure, am I actually changing? Who am I really? And this is a concept we call a time loop. Now, what is a time loop? A time loop is where you are going through your life and you get confronted with a pattern, and it is the same pattern that you've been confronted with before.
In
For
yourself.
example, within yourself.
Right.
For example, right? Let's say you have to have a tough conversation with a family member, and you see that family member about twice a year, and you go hang out with them, and it's Christmas, and it's all good, right? But you know you got to go talk to them about that one thing, and then you end up not talking to them about the thing, and then you leave, and then you don't see them again, and you're like, oh well, we didn't have the time, and play excuse. Okay, got it. Well, 6 months later, you go to the event, and oh, there's the family member again. Gosh, you just got to bring it up to them. You got to bring it up to them. Okay, and you don't do it. You are time looping because you're not willing to face something. Okay, or this is in your business, right? You can time loop with a certain amount of money you're making, right? You always can make $4,000, right? You make $4,000 and you make $4,000, and then you try and break through, and you stay at $4,000, right? It's like you're time looping at that certain level, right? And here is why this is so important, because you will know deep down what your time loops are. You may not see them all right here, right now, but now that you have this word, this is now a way in which you can really see your life. And it's the same way, right? It's the same way in relationships too, right? You might date someone, it's going really good, and then all of a sudden something happens and you lose trust for each other, or the feelings go away, and then you time loop, and then you break up, or something happens, right? And you don't go to that next level, right? You don't break through to then get engaged, get married, have a family, all that stuff. Or maybe you have gotten engaged and got married, but then you got a divorce last time, right? And now you're going to confront I guarantee you will confront the exact same pattern again, because
Yep.
you didn't resolve the point within yourself. And so this is really the best way to now look at, where are you in your life, in your process? Who are you? What is the lessons you have to learn, so that you can transcend that time loop? Because, I know both of us have had this many times. We become painfully aware of our time loops, painfully aware. And then,
Oh,
and then you learn the lesson and you actually do something different. And it might be a tiny thing, it might be a big thing, right? You might have a bunch of energy running through your body, and you're feeling resistance and fear, and I'm overwhelmed. But then you just do the thing you got to do, or you learn the lesson you got to learn. And you usually learn that lesson by doing something different, or saying something different, or handling something in a different way. And that, when you transcend that time loop, you have now unlocked your next level of reality. And it is phenomenal, right? And it is so interesting, man. It's almost like I was chatting with someone the other day. Shout out Chris, right? He just got techno tutor. He put it in a really cool way, man, because he right there. It's a time. It's like life is your entire life is a time loop before you get techno tutor, because you're just playing out your pre-programming. No, when you get TechnoTutor, you're able to then start changing your programming. And then you open up your next level of now potential time loops. And then you keep going and going,
Yes.
and then you got to transcend and transcend and transcend. And he put it in this really cool way. He's like, man, he's like, this TechnoTutor thing, even after like 4 days, right? He's like, I see how I had all of these things in my life that I desired to create. Like he wanted like certain types of relationships and wants to make a certain level of impact in the media. And he does like sales, like copywriting and stuff. And he's a very studious guy, but he realized, wow, how he was limited in his unconscious programming, right? Because he didn't know what he didn't know. He didn't know where he was holding himself back. He said after like a week of using TechnoTutor, he explained it like this. He goes, yeah, it's like, when you try and download a bunch of stuff off the internet and it's all in this downloading queue, but it's not actually downloading because, like, for whatever reason, it's like not connected or the connection's not strong enough. He's like, now the downloading started happening. Like all this stuff that had built up into his queue now started downloading, coming into his life. And that's manifested through new business partnerships, right? He is now, how do I say it, with his girlfriend. He's really seeing now, okay, we need to actually be committed to each other. And so he's seeing all this stuff of now, okay, cool, I can now go do this. And that's so exciting, right? Because isn't that what we all want at the end of the day? Like we all want to see what our next level is, realize that, okay, I'm equipped enough to make it happen. Then you go do the damn thing and then you make it happen. And then the next level emerges. And it's so fun when you're doing that, especially, right? And really, it's only genuinely fun when you actually have the real purpose of let's really change things around here for the better,
And
right?
that's the point, is understanding like the words time loop. How are you looping in time? Well, what we're referring time loop is in relation to your personal process.
Mhm.
Okay, so I just want you to imagine just a line being drawn and it's going forward, going forward, going forward, and then a point of conflict, a point of something that you have that you participate in that's not best. And like Mitchell was saying, you'll see the macro ones of like divorce or your business failing. You can't break through a certain amount of money per month. All of that is a result of an accumulation of other time loops. For example,
Yes.
moments when you didn't step up in your business and you weren't firm with a business partner or a client, and you're giving out more than you're supposed to be giving out, or
Yes.
or you're not organized and you're not scheduling your time. You're just letting things pile up, because usually other people deal with that when you have a job. Now you have to deal with it. You just let everything pile up and then it becomes overwhelming. Then you get stressed and then you can't fulfill the same way. Then you got to go get a job or whatever the case may be. Let's just say if you had left
Yeah.
your job. There's all these little things that are time looping. Eventually you'll get so specific, right? I remember when I first got into my relationship, I had a big pattern of suppression, right?
Mhm.
The time girlfriend. When I say at the time, now she's my wife, but at the time she was very expressive. She's really she's expressive. If she's upset, she's upset. But for me, it's the opposite. If I'm upset, I would be like, okay, and I wouldn't say anything. Bottle that shit up, and I would leave, right? And I had to time loop on that so many times until I realized, oh shit, that's not what a man is. A man isn't somebody who has an angry girlfriend and then just says, okay, you're angry, and I'm just going to stand down. That's not what a man does. A man
Right.
supports his to walk through the emotion that they're feeling. So now I
Right.
do that really effectively. I'm no longer time looping on it, right? So what that looks like is in your personal process. We're not going to get into too much about like what time really is and shit like that, because I mean,
You got to come on the
time
Young
it's
Billionaires Club call for that.
exactly. You got to come on the
At the
business
time
call for
of
that.
what is it? Right now the time is at 10:30 a.m. Central on Sundays.
Right.
It might
So
change in the future.
you have that time element that we use to like coordinate things in physical reality, but in terms of your personal process, the time loop is when you hit a point and then you don't transcend it. You accept limitation. In that moment, right now, you listen to the audio and you're like, oh man, dude, that fuck. Every time I face something, I got to make sure I don't waste any time and I actually get through it the first time. But when you're in the moment, your ego is like, nah, man, you're gonna get hurt if you do that. You're gonna get in trouble if you do that. You're gonna do something bad. Something bad's gonna happen if you do that. You should just time loop. It's not gonna say it like that. your mind is not going to say that. Your ego is not going to say it to you like you should just time loop. It's going to say, don't do that, or you should do that thing that you said you shouldn't do, right?
Mhm,
And you're going to
mhm.
time loop. Maybe you're trying to quit weed and alcohol, and you just keep
Yes,
falling back
that's a big
into it.
one.
My gosh, we have to do a whole other audio on drugs and
Right,
alcohol.
right. Or you have certain types of friends that you like know that they're not going on the same path as you. So it's not even a friend, but right, people in
And
your
you
life
know it.
that
And here's the thing, you fucking know it. You know,
right, right,
right? I had this with my cousins, right? My brother kept telling me, hey man, like if you want to get rich, like you can't just be going over there and spending all this time playing video games and all this stuff, even if it's once a month. I'm like, yeah,
right.
but dude, it's just
Even
once a
once a month.
month, man. It's just once a month. Like, who cares? Like, not a big deal. My point is, we'll get into the details. We're going to do their audio that will have to do with cutting out the dead weight and the things that are not just dead weight, but it's actually making you go backwards.
Right.
Just understand the concept. That's a time loop. You face a point, and then you do a loop, like on a roller coaster. You know, it goes up, and then you come back to the same point. But
Uh-huh.
you'll just keep doing that over and over
It's
and
it's
over
it's
again
more
until
so
you transcend.
rather than being like a roller coaster, it's more like you're on a merry-go-round and you're stuck on the merry-go-round
A
and you're locked
merry-go-round.
in.
Nice. Nice. Yes,
Yeah, because
exactly.
the roller coaster would be the next time where you do that loop, and then you realize the moment you're doing the loop, wait, I got to do this instead. Boom. In
And then you
real time,
shoot
you
forward.
change it. And the way you know you did it is that that pattern now no longer comes up in your life,
Yeah.
right? Or sure, you'll have another business partner, who tries to take advantage of you or whatever, but this time you see it coming, and now boom, you crush it, right? And
Right.
then the next time that comes around or whatever, next time you have a client who's out of control or whatever, it's like you then build a system to actually handle that, so that you don't even have to waste your time doing that anymore,
Oh, I got
right?
the visual. I got the visual. It's
Okay,
like
okay,
imagine a Ferris wheel, okay?
okay.
But you're just walking about your life, right? And you get triggered, and then you have that moment. That's the Ferris wheel. It doesn't have seats. It's just like it just grabs you, like like clamps. It just grabs
Yes,
you and it starts taking you on the Ferris wheel. Okay.
that's really funny.
But
That's really funny.
in that moment when you're walking, okay, you get off the time because you're going about your day again, right? You get grabbed. That's when you're feeling all the energy. You're like, fuck, I don't want to tell my girlfriend that. I don't want to bring up marriage to my girlfriend yet. I don't think she's ready. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not ready to walk through this fear. And you're like, fuck it, I know I need to do it. And then as you off the ground, you unlatch yourself from the clamps so you don't go for the loop. You just keep walking forward. Then you actually have that real conversation with your partner. And then she's like, oh, well, I'm pleasantly surprised. And you're like, damn, this is going better than I thought. Or she's like, whoa, where's that coming from? And then you close her and you even feel fucking better because she did. You're no longer at effect. You're no
Right.
longer like, oh shit, my fucking partner, she's just gonna get angry and then I'm screwed. It's like, no, she can get angry and I'm still gonna close on what I see as best because I trust
Yes.
my ability to communicate and I trust our agreement that we're going to stand by principle and what will be best, et cetera, et cetera. But again, typically, if you're not a distributor, you're probably not doing that effectively. That's why we always suggest make sure you have the right crew around you
Right.
when you're going through the relationship and business game, because if not, you're going to fall.
Right, right. Yeah, there's a lot of blind spots here too, right? And that's because that'd be a whole nother time loop. So, like ultimately, right? This is a reminder of like who are you and what are the lessons you need to learn so you can actually go to the next level in your ability to express who you are. And so
Mhm.
for right now, right? Like take a moment, grab a piece of paper, grab a maybe even better than a piece of paper, like put it somewhere where you're going to see it. Maybe you have to type it digitally in a note or something, but like somewhere where you're going to see it and be able to look at this. And you get to now write out what are the time loops that you know that you're facing. Like actually, right? You might have to break it down into sections of your life or whatever works for you, right? Like in your relationship. Okay, what is this time loop? And again, I'm just saying this because this is an example of someone that I know in our community who's really applying themselves in this process, and they're like working towards a relationship, but the female isn't fully ready yet because of a lot of reasons. So you have to look at this with common sense and see what's practical. Because if you just get hyped up right here, and you're like, okay, I gotta go close around being in a relationship today. It's like that may not make sense, right?
Uh-huh.
You've there's consequence that's accumulated. you've accumulated consequence, and if there's other people involved, whether it's girlfriend or potential girlfriend or business partner, whatever, there's also a consequence they've accumulated. So you might have to now just pick a day in the calendar. Again, pick it soon and work fully on everything you have to do in the meantime to be ready for that. So it doesn't mean, okay, go delay for 2 months now and put off the conversation. No, don't do that. You fucking know what I'm talking about, right? But you might have to now take a few steps in order for example, if it's a potential partner, for them to feel ready, right? Maybe you got to go on 2 more dates and plant a few more seeds, or you have to ask them a few questions to see, are they even on the same page, right? So but the time loop here is now you actually take the right steps to do it, right? Or if you're in a position where you have a job or a business or whatever that you can tell is not the best thing for you long term, you're doing it temporarily, you got to now pick a date and see, okay, what are the lessons I have to learn? What do I need to now do so that I don't get enslaved by this thing and time loop for a year? Rather, you can just close this loop within, let's say, 3 months, right? Because you can do so much in 3 months, you will blow your mind, but you have to have that commitment. And that's at the end of the day why we talk about at the very beginning, who are you?
Yes. Guys, this is such a powerful exercise if you actually take the time to do this. Is just look at everywhere where you're fucking up. Just look at every little piece where you're fucking up. Like, for example.
That's a good way to put it. Where am I fucking up? And then don't go into the pity about it. Like, fuck your pity.
Yes. Yes.
Don't go into the emotional.
That's a big self-sabotage. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big self-sabotage of being like, man, I've got so much to work through. And it's a weird pattern because you might do this even when you're by yourself, but you're actually, it's a pattern within you that's looking for attention. It's like you're trying to, if everybody else feels bad for you and tells you it's okay, or you tell yourself it's okay that you're fucked up, then you don't have to change. Right. Like if you say, oh, I'm so fucked up, man. Hey, it's okay. Everyone's walking their process. Everything takes time. Change takes time. Oh, okay, cool. I don't have to change. Those statements in and of themselves are not wrong, but the point is just look at where, that's a time loop. So very simple. Write out everywhere where you're fucking up. In your relationship, for example, you suppress, like, oh man, every time I want to say something to my partner, I suppress it. I hold it inside myself. That's a fuck up. That's not best. Expression is life. Get it out on the table and you guys have to deal with it. Suppression is never the best way to go about things. Okay. In the context of a relationship. In a business, yeah, maybe you don't tell somebody everything because it wouldn't make sense to. There's context, right? So look at there. Look at what about when you don't ask for what you want? So simple. I don't ask for what I want. And then when I don't get what I want, I blame somebody else for it. That's a time loop. You keep doing that. In your business, you keep waking up, keep snoozing your alarm. That's a time loop. Every time you set up some time to get something done, you don't follow your schedule. Time loop. Just write out all these points, and then you're going to have a big elephant, but just look at one bite at a time. The way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. Just one pattern that makes most sense, that's most practical, and start working through that. Yeah. And you'll see that becomes your roadmap to working through your shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like this is actually like the roadmap to freedom, right? Freedom is not like I'm free from responsibility. Real freedom is you just take the responsibility to deal with the shit you've been putting off, you get it done, and then a whole new level opens up for you and you can really start to create, right? Because any creation you do now is going to be extremely limited. And so this is really the roadmap to you getting to that level that I know deep down you intend to get to, which is you actually want to help people and you actually want a bunch of money and you want an amazing life. This is the roadmap, right? And the only way out, as we said this before, the only way out of this is through and one bite at a time. So
let's go, baby. So share this with some friends, comment, like.
Share this with someone who needs to hear this.
And do you guys need any support with this? Reach out one-on-one. We appreciate all the great feedback that you guys have been given based off these audios. So go out, slap it up, baby. Rock
and if you're not, think about this, if you're not sharing this with other people, isn't that a time loop? Right? You're holding back still. Right? More people need to hear this. So, all right, everyone, sharing is caring. Right? All right. See you next time.
See you there.